You're watching Local News 8 at 10. Local people, local news.
We start with breaking news on the weather front tonight. We said it would happen, and it is. Flooding across the state, causing flood watches and warnings to be issued across our area. Good evening. Things in eastern Idaho relatively quiet right now. The big problems happening to our southwest. Several roads and highways across Twin Falls County are underwater at this area. One of the biggest areas of concern is Highway 93 near Filer. And this is what it looks like right now. Several feet of water covering many roads throughout the county. Much of this is the result of melting snow. With all of our ice and snow over the last few months, the storm drains are clogged and the water has nowhere to go, so it's covering the roads, creating flooding. The concern for us here in eastern Idaho right now is small, but there is a threat of flooding as our temperatures rise. We saw some of it today. Chris Nessman joining us now with this part of the story. Chris, what can we see?
Well, Oswald, the big thing, again, is that as the temperatures rise, you are worried about pockets and areas of flooding. And part of the problem, too, is the snow is actually blocking the water from really going anywhere. That's why you're getting ponding on the streets, or sheet flooding is another way. And even in places that aren't necessarily flat, you could get some problems as much of the ground is still frozen, meaning the water doesn't have anywhere to go. Even if it, starts to move, it can't go underground, so it just keeps going on top. And much of the Snake River Plain is a concern. It really is down towards Twin Falls where the biggest problems are. Not too bad in our neck of the woods, but you still see a lot of above freezing temperatures right now. So it's going to slow down at night, but not entirely. In fact, you have to wait until next Tuesday to when we'll really start to see it slow down. That's because Tuesday, we're going to get below freezing. So southern highlands are the biggest concern, runoff snow and street flooding, and then again, Tuesday, as we get below freezing, that'll kind of put the brakes on it, which is actually kind of what you want. You want a couple days of that warm, not too warm weather, and then a cold day to slow it down and give everyone else a breather. Chris?
Yeah, it's good information. Thanks, Chris. And with the threat of flooding, some East Idaho communities are making sandbags available for people who are worried about the possibility of flooding. In Blackfoot, you can pick up sandbags at the entrance of the Central Transfer Station in Moreland. That's at 690 West Highway 26. And in Pocatello, sandbags are available to the public at the street department. That address also on your screen. It's 1080 South 1st Avenue. There is another concern for you out of the weather department tonight. We've been warning you about this one for weeks as well, and what could happen if you don't clear the snow off your roofs. Tonight, visual proof of why you need to do just that. Local News 8's reporter Taja Davis on your side tonight with the pictures and warnings.
Requires that structures are built to withstand the maximum recorded snow load.
But one carport couldn't stand that test. Last night, a couple living at Parkwood Apartments heard a loud rumble, then a crash. They came outside to this. 3 cars trapped under the carport.
Cases like the carport, overhangs, things like that, watch for distortion. If it's bending from the weight of the snow, you need to get the weight off.
Carefully monitor the amount of snow piling and how the building is holding up. You can see that this carport has snow up to about a foot or even more.
Usually there's some sort of warning, like stuff just doesn't all of a sudden collapse. Usually it flexes or bends or distorts before there's going to be an issue.
If you see a big pile of snow on a fixture that could collapse, contact your landlord or a roof contractor to clear the snow for you. In Idaho Falls, I'm Taja Davis.
A crew removed the snow from the rest of the carports at that apartment complex this morning. And here's an interesting fact. Just 20 inches of snow can weigh 10 pounds per square foot. That means a 20 by 20 roof with that amount of snow on it can be supporting about 4,000 pounds of weight. That carport collapse, not the first roof to fall in this area. The roof collapsed in Ingham because of heavy snow. We brought you this story last night. It was a barn with 5 tons of hay that the snow fell on top of. There was also an old classic 1969 Chevy truck. All of it was destroyed by the heavy snowpack on the roof. All of our snow is good news, though, for our water supply. The Natural Resources Conservation Service says water supply shortages are not expected, but due to the variable conditions across Idaho this past winter, water users north of the Salmon River may see drier outcomes with the stream flow. People to the south of the Salmon River should expect wetter patterns.
Weather anytime, on demand. Log on to localnews8.com.
We turn now to the immigration issue. Tonight, it is executive order versus restraining order, and President Trump versus the federal judge who has blocked his temporary ban on some immigrants and refugees. The president unrestrained on Twitter, and the White House promising to push back hard in court. ABC's Elizabeth Herr continues our coverage of this issue.
President Donald Trump is taking on federal judge James Robart, who slapped him with a restraining order halting his travel ban from 7 predominantly Muslim countries.
My question to you is, have there been terrorist attacks in the United States by refugees or other immigrants from the 7 countries listed since 9/11?
The president tweeting, "What is our country coming to when a judge can halt a Homeland Security travel ban and anyone, even with bad intentions, can come into U.S.?" And in remarkably blunt language, the opinion of the so-called judge, which essentially takes law enforcement away from our country, is ridiculous and will be overturned. Vice President Mike Pence interviewed by ABC's George Stephanopoulos.
Is it appropriate for the president to be questioning the legitimacy of a federal judge in that way?
The executive order that he put into effect was legal, it was appropriate, and our administration is going to be using all legal means at our disposal to challenge the judge's order.
Judge Robart imposed a nationwide hold on the president's policy, ruling it would cause irreparable injury were it allowed to stand. This Syrian woman is hoping the judge's order will reunite her with her husband.
I love my husband and I want to stay away from him. That's it.
No fear! Anti-Trump protesters dogging the president nearly to the doorstep of his weekend getaway at Mar-a-Lago in Florida. The Department of Justice is now officially appealing the judge's ruling. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, New York.
With protests and rallies happening around the country, some eastern Idaho folks are holding their own. A group of about 100 people stood on the Broadway Bridge today protesting President Trump's executive orders on immigration and the North Dakota Access Pipeline. Some of those crowds say they traveled to Standing Rock to show support. The group tells Local News 8 they want the president to know they do not support his executive orders. This rally was put on by the grassroots civic activist group Eastern Idaho Water Protectors. Just 2 weeks into his presidency, many of the Trump decisions have sparked outrage. Tonight, Region 7 Republican Party held its Lincoln Day banquet tonight. With all of the dignitaries in one place, we wanted to see what the reactions were to President Trump's first 2 weeks in office. We talked with Lieutenant Governor Brad Little. Little says he is excited about the Trump presidency and the executive orders.
I'm delighted with them. They're still, as an executive order would go, how it's implemented. Obviously, the freeze on personnel was the right idea, but they're, like hiring firefighters, they've already modified that to allow it to where we can do what we do every year, and that's hire the necessary Forest Service and BLM firefighters. So, but the general direction, all of them I love.
Governor Butch Otter is also making his thoughts on immigration known. In an interview with Idaho Public Television, Governor Otter said he believes Christian refugees should be given priority coming into the United States. President Donald Trump made the similar statements last week. Otter did, however, acknowledge his stance is discriminatory, but said it was needed to protect the United States. On your Health Watch at 10, the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare says the number of flu deaths is up from last year. The department says so far this year there have been 25 flu-related deaths in Idaho. That's up from the 23 we see on average. 7 of the deaths this year were reported in the last week. Doctors say most flu patients have influenza A. One of the biggest issues for doctors, how contagious the flu is. Of course, there are some common sense things you can do to protect yourself. First, cover your cough. Second, wash your hands. And if you're sick, just stay home. And Idaho Pooch is thanking its lucky paws tonight. We want to show you some pictures. Take a look at this. The Boise Fire Department had to rescue Buddy the dog, yes, Buddy is his real name, from a storm drain Friday. Buddy got a little adventurous and went exploring through a pipe. The pipe was on a slope, and Buddy couldn't crawl back out. Still ahead at 10, a warning for anyone who owns a laptop tonight. The growing concern over the possibilities of explosions. And a little later, after your full forecast, know your lemons coming up the unconventional way. One woman is raising awareness about breast cancer. Back now with some developing news. Utah Governor Gary Herbert has signed a resolution urging President Donald Trump to repeal the newly named Bears Ears National Monument. The resolution was approved by the legislature last week. Former President Barack Obama declared the monument in December. Utah's GOP and rural residents say it's too restrictive and adds another layer of unnecessary federal control. New tonight, the power is back on at Grand Targhee Ski Resort. Resort employees tell us the power went off for a little bit this morning. They did have to fire up the generators to keep things productive for a while, but everything is now back to normal. We don't have a word or exactly a cause of what caused the power to go out. The annual Fire and Ice Festival in Lava Hot Springs is underway. Part of the event was today. It was the Polar Float Parade down the Portneuf River. There was also the Superhero Endurance Swim. Competitors swam 3,000 yards. You sweep the river there. That 3,000 yards is about 120 laps.
It was pretty fun. It got hard about halfway because I was tired, but just kept going because why not?
The festival continues through tomorrow and will end with the running of the Bulls event.
Now, your first alert weather.
You know, I was a distance swimmer, and 3,000 yards back in the day, it was okay. Now, no way. So good job, guys, for doing that. Taking a live look from our Rexburg Skycam, things are still fairly mild at this time, even 37 degrees. It's thanks to those southwesterly winds, 16 miles an hour. And you can see we've also had a few scattered rain and snow showers with more on the way. We're going to have a couple of busy days, and that's because we've got several storms that'll be coming into our region, bringing the chance of rain and snow. Hence, winter storm warnings for the high country, and then, of course, the flood watches for the lower areas. That will start to slow down as we do have a dip in temperatures come Tuesday. Speaking of Tuesday, let's slowly work our way to it on Vipercast. So tomorrow, scattered rain/snow showers. By the afternoon, it starts to clear up, so count on a mostly cloudy to then partly cloudy day tomorrow. As we get into Monday, much more widespread. In fact, Monday is going to be a fairly wet day. Mild, though. In fact, a lot of places will be above 40 in Monday, so count on rain showers in the valley locations. Tuesday, on the other hand, is going to be cooler as a cold front comes in. And winds, instead of the southwest, they're going to be from the northwest, hence colder temperatures. Tonight's lows, not so cold, at least not for February. 27, 35 in Soda Springs, 30 and 37 in Lava Hot Springs. Further north, how about 41 for a high in Rexburg? It's been a while since Rexburg's hit the 40s. It'll probably feel pretty good for a lot of folks. Jackson, just barely above freezing, high of 34 tomorrow. Central Mountains, Chalice, after a very cold January, going to feel more comfortable. Salmon, just above freezing, but still, that's not enough. You're not going to see a ton of melting in Salmon. Any snow that is left, though, again, that's where the chance of those floods are. 40s, mid-40s for a lot of the southern Snake River Plain. Taking a look at the extended forecast, Idaho Falls. Breezy conditions off and on for several days, and off and on rain/snow showers, with again this Tuesday being the chilly day in our forecast, high of only 26. Pocatello, barely above freezing on Tuesday, of course, compared to the 40s on a couple other days, will feel significantly different compared to where we have been. Salmon on the chillier end, but hey, you're still going to see some snow showers. Best bet in Salmon will definitely be Monday, as you have some that'll make their way through the Central Mountains. Blackfoot, 44 tomorrow, 40 on Monday, and then break on Tuesday with warmer weather again, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Nice part, be nice to get the warm weather with some clear skies, but unfortunately we're going to stick with the active conditions for a couple of days, and ending with Jackson, snow showers for the next 7 days. Chris?
All right, thank you, Chris. New tonight is becoming a real global phenomenon. One woman is going the extra mile so you know the signs of breast cancer with lemons. And get this, she's from the Gem State. Local News 8 reporter Febin Casahoon has this special report, new at 10.
160 billion people. That's how many people the Know Your Lemons campaign has reached as of this week. Corinne Beaumont not only designed the photo, she also founded Worldwide Breast Cancer in 2014. One of the questions she always wondered was, what does a lump feel like? It was from then on that she was determined to find that out.
I was using jugs and cones and melons and any two shapes I could kind of put together that could kind of be a stand-in for the breast. but none of them were very accurate.
Beaumont at the time was pursuing a master's degree in graphic design and decided to make this a design project. She was trying to find a way to demonstrate it by not using real photos because for some, it can be difficult to look at.
That's when I thought about using a lemon. So the great thing about a lemon is that it resembles a breast without having to be a breast. And if you cut it from navel to navel, when you open it up, it resembles the interior anatomy of a breast.
Jeffrey Hancock is the medical director at the Teton Cancer Institute in eastern Idaho. Right now, he and Beaumont are working on ways to improve communication between doctors and breast cancer patients.
As we sit down with the patients, we have them answer questionnaires, and then after we're done discussing with them the diagnosis and the pathology of their tumor and the various treatment options, then we reassess that knowledge. We provide them with a number of tools, including cards, handouts.
The Louisville native, who now resides in London, is making it her goal to reach every single woman across the globe.
It doesn't require a high literacy rate, which means it can be shown anywhere in the world.
Beaumont says she wants to do more than have people look at a picture. People need to be educated, and her website shows it all.
Such as their risk type, so they know how often they should be getting screened, and also the steps for detection.
Now, Chris, today Corinne has officially launched her Know Your Lemons challenge. It's a bit like the Ice Bucket Challenge, but with a twist of lemon. So there are 3 things you need to do. The first thing is to educate yourself. The second is to donate to the cause, which can be found on our website. And the third is to make a lemon video or smile. So I've done the first 2, and I would like you guys to join me for the third one.
So we're supposed to take this?
Yes.
Okay.
And bite into it and just smile. Ready? Oh, I think I swallowed a seed. Ooh. Oh, yeah, I swallowed a seed.
We'll be right back. Back now with some wild video. A laptop igniting into flames, apparently out of nowhere. The consumer tonight, this may not be an isolated issue. ABC's Marcia Gonzalez with this consumer alert that you need to know.
2 teens home alone when out of nowhere they say the laptop plugged in next to them on the couch explodes.
I was just like in shock. We didn't really know what was happening, didn't really know what to do.
Security cameras in the California home rolling as the teens blow out the fire, unplug the computer, and bring it outside. But just 3 minutes later, it bursts into flames again. Then again 3 minutes after that. You see Devin Johnson use a fire extinguisher, yet moments later, flames shoot out for a 4th time.
Well, we're lucky that our house didn't burn.
The Johnsons say the fire appears to have come from the 4-year-old Dell laptop's lithium-ion battery. In 2006, more than 4 million of that type of battery were recalled by Dell because of the risk of fire. And just last week, more than 100,000 were recalled by Hewlett-Packard. And it's not just computers. Lithium-ion batteries are the suspected cause of fires and recalls of hoverboards and Galaxy Note 7 cell phones. As for the Johnsons, that laptop is in the mail on the way to Dell. The company telling ABC News Dell places the highest priority on safety and will conduct a complete investigation.
Most laptops have the lithium-ion battery, so there are some ways to protect yourself. Experts say always leave your laptop on a hard surface, never a bed or couch, and unplug it as soon as it is done charging. After winning an overtime thriller, the Idaho State men's basketball team looked to keep the momentum going tonight. Julia Cox will bring you some of the highlights from tonight's action. That's next on Sportsline.
Carl, hello.
And now, Sportsline.
For whatever reason, the Idaho State men's basketball team can't seem to put together 2 good halves. After overcoming a 20-point deficit on Thursday night in an overtime win against Northern Arizona, the Bengals look to put together 2 good halves tonight. The Bengals hosting Southern Utah. The Thunderbirds are last in the conference in standings. First half, ISU leads 16-11. Gino Luscanzo knocks down the tray ball with a broken bone in his left hand. Head coach Bill Evans said it shouldn't affect him. Clearly, it isn't. Later in the first, Ethan Telfair misses the layup. Luscanzo is there for the board, and he fights for the putback, gets fouled, but he misses the free throw. Bengals lead 23-11. Later in the first, it's the Gino Luscanzo show. He dunks it, but gets a technical for hanging out for too long. Believe it or not, though, other guys did play tonight, like Balint Moxon, who had a career-high 15 points on the night. Bengals lead 33-16. Then a little bit later, it's Telfair hitting a deep NBA 3. He had a game-high 21 points and added 8 assists. Then it's Brandon Boyd wanting to get in on the tray ball action as well. The Bengals shot 56% on threes tonight, and then it's going to be Eric Nacken knocking down a tray ball as well to close out the first half for ISU. To the second, much of the same. ISU comes up with the steal. Telfair brings it down the court, dishes it to Boyd, who knocks down the tray ball. Bengals shot 52% on the night. Southern Utah shot just 30%, and the final score shows just that. The Bengals win it 94-68. And signing day may have been Wednesday, but Idaho football coach Paul Petrino has been going nonstop since then. Petrino had 16 signees, a very impressive signing class, probably because Idaho went 9-4 this season. That includes winning the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Since Wednesday, Petrino, Idaho Athletic Director Rob Spear, and a few others have been to Lewiston, Coeur d'Alene, Boise, Twin Falls, and finally Idaho Falls to meet with fans and boosters to thank them for their support this season.
Well, it's just nice to get out amongst the whole state and see the different people that support us. First of all, go see all the boosters and encourage them to keep supporting, and then just let them know all the guys that we signed for our class. And then we have a little tape, show clips of all the recruits, and then show a little highlight of our season and let everybody see some of those great plays from the bowl game.
I will have more on those signees tomorrow night. And speaking of tomorrow, it is almost Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. The New England Patriots taking on the Atlanta Falcons in Houston. Andy Rose has more on Sunday's matchup.
When the New England Patriots face off against the Atlanta Falcons in Houston for Super Bowl 51 this weekend, it'll be a case of the powerhouse franchise versus the underdogs. The Patriots have won rings in 4 of their 8 Super Bowl appearances, and all of those victories were with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick at the helm.
To have been in it that many times is special.
And then there's the Falcons, who have never won a national championship. In fact, this will only be their 2nd Super Bowl appearance in franchise history, and they're ready to be back.
What we can do is do what we do really well.
The home cities of both teams are preparing for celebrations and large crowds.
We're asking people and to remind people there's no public drinking. Depending on what happens at the end of the game, we're asking people not to climb on structures, be very, very careful on that.
And while security is always a priority at games, it's sure to be extra tight this year due to the attendance of Vice President Mike Pence. Former President George H.W. Bush and his wife Barbara will also be at the game and will even participate in the pregame coin toss. So whether you watch the game, the commercials, the halftime show, or even the Puppy Bowl, there'll be plenty to keep viewers entertained on Super Bowl Sunday. I'm Andy Rose reporting.
I don't know about you, but between the Puppy Bowl, the food, the halftime show, and then, of course, the football, I like to make a whole day of it. That's going to do it for sports. We'll be right back after this.
One final look at a very nice forecast.
Nice, roller coaster-ish. But hey, I like roller coasters, so this will be fun. Taking a look, Blackfoot, 44 degrees tomorrow, 40 Monday, only 29 on Tuesday. Now, the dip, while a lot of folks are going, hey, I was just getting used to the 40s, it is going to be helpful in that it'll kind of put a break on some of the scattered areas that are flooding. So we need a day like that every once in a while. And then again, things do warm up again later on. Sliding from Blackfoot to Rexburg. 41 tomorrow, down to 26 Tuesday, but then 30s for the latter half of the work week.
We will enjoy it. Thank you, Chris. We'll be back here tomorrow at 5. We'll see you later. Have a good night, everyone.